Thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be talking about Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. I know, this book came out years ago. In fact, she's already done with her new trilogy. I finally had time to read it. Finally made the time to read it. And it was pretty good, I have to say. I love the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. First and foremost, I think it is an excellent series, especially if you like true crime and historical fiction and mystery thriller. I mean, it fits all three of those because, again, Stalking Jack the Ripper, she is investigating the Jack the Ripper murders. You do find out who the supposed Jack the Ripper is in the first novel. The second and third are based in historical places, but it is a little bit more fictitious against, again, historical fiction. This one, Capturing the Devil, Chicago World's Fair. You know true crime. You know that this is H.H. Holmes, the infamous Devil in the White City. I have to say I really did like that little twist there with the storytelling and how we're going to Chicago, to the World's Fair, to investigate the murder hotel. We do get inside the murder hotel. It really is an that happens all the way at the end of the book, and whew, it's great. And I'll get to that in a second. I did like the storytelling, and I did like the progression of the story for the most part. I did think it was interesting to see just how the characters' minds work. And that's something that has always fascinated me throughout the series. You get to see Audrey Rose and Thomas. You get to see how their brilliant minds work and how they're putting the pieces together in a way that you as the reader don't really see. You understand it, but you're not seeing it. You're seeing these characters' minds at work, which I think is very clever writing because it does propel the story forward. However, the story begins, Audrey is still thinking of the body she found in the previous book that was so reminiscent of the Jack the Ripper murders. And while she is also planning her nuptials to Thomas, and as they're getting married, right before they're about to say their I do's, in barges a woman, excuse me, he's my betrothed, sorry, you guys can't do this. This segue came out of left field for me, and I was just like, what? Like, I get it. Thomas's father is an asshole. I understand that part, but it still seemed very extreme, and it almost seemed like Maniscalco, she really wanted to marry these two characters, clearly. It's what the whole series has been building up to. But it's almost like she forgot, I have this whole rest of the book to write. Probably shouldn't marry them right now. Let me throw in a nice plot twist, except it didn't really work. And this plot twist added some tension to the characterization, except not really, because they love each other. So it just kind of felt like, why is it even here? Why does it even exist in the story? It really doesn't serve any purpose other than to put a pause on their nuptials. And then you have them go from, I forgot what city they landed in, but you have them going from point A to point B, Chicago, the Chicago World's Fair. How they're putting the pieces together. I mean, I like that Maniscalco actually used Uncle to be like, there are no bodies here. Why are we in Chicago? Can you answer me that? Because even you as the reader, you're just like, okay, I understand your thought process, characters, but why Chicago? There are no bodies. There's no brutal murders. Why are you going to Chicago? It didn't flow, I want to say. That part just didn't flow to go from part 1 to part 2 and 3, of the story. It just, 2 and 3 flowed. But part 1 to 2, it didn't really flow as much. It was a little jarring, and it seemed like a lot of stuff happening just to create tension. Just for the sake of creating tension, for the sake of creating tension. And I know Maniscalco as a writer, I've read all her other stuff. So I know she's better than that. I just feel like it was poorly plotted, that first part of the story, up until they go to Chicago. Once they're in Chicago, everything is perfect. That rising tension, the characterization, it's all so well done once they're in Chicago. But everything before that, I was kind of meh and a little iffy on. Now, I will say that, after 4 books, I'm really glad that Maniscalco focused on her characterization. She did not forget her characterization and her character development. Audrey Rose, even to this point, is still growing. And as she's reading her brother's journals, you're seeing how much she has with her own conflict. She's just like, how did I not see the monster that he was? And I kind of like this. I mean, she's a little morbid. She likes to dissect bodies. So she does question her own, morality. But the way she observed bodies, and you see her empathy and her grief and her anger, it's just like, you're nothing like your brother. So don't even worry about it. But I like that inner turmoil that she has within her. And it does give her a lot of depth, because she has to navigate this world. And she has to come face to face with the devil himself. So when you get to that final scene, after all her inner turmoil, when you get to that scene between her and H.H. Holmes, and he's like, you're just like me. It's just like, no, sir, I am not. And it is such an amazing moment to just see them go head to head and to see her outsmart him. Icing on the cake. She is amazing. That is all I have to say on that now. I mean, it was good. It was a good story. I think it was a really good conclusion. And for me, extra icing on the cake, and I don't even like cake, was that it comes full circle back to the first book. I love it when a series does that, when it's just like, hey, I'm going to take this bit and I'm going to tie it right back to the beginning and make everything full circle. I was just so happy with that. I was just like, I love this. I loved it. So for me, that was probably the best part of the story, how it's reconnecting to that first novel. And I absolutely loved that aspect. So overall, I have to give this book 4 out of 5 stars. That first third, meh, but everything from Chicago forward, spectacularly written, good characterization, good high tension, good stakes, good inner turmoil, rising tension. I really did enjoy it. So 4 out of 5 stars. If you want to go ahead and purchase the book, please purchase from a local bookseller or online book retailer. I will include links in the description below. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. You can also become a supporter on Buy Me a Coffee or by purchasing one of my handmade candles. I hope you all have a great and wonderful rest of your day. And as always, happy reading.